Hey guys, what's going on? Back with another video. How's everybody doing? We're back doing the Week 11 picks. It's already Week 11 in the NFL, but we're at really the best part of the year for football. November, this is when the best games are. And honestly, I gotta say, the Monday night game, the Seahawks and the 49ers, might just be the best regular season game I've ever seen. I mean, that was unbelievable. I mean, we'll get to that, but I mean, this is where the marquee games are. So I mean, I guess it's too bad that season's kind of more than halfway over here, but at least we got some good games to look forward to. So Thursday night, Steelers at Browns. This is an interesting game. I mean, the beginning of the season, or before the season, I mean, this probably should have been a huge game. But then Roethlisberger, went down. The Steelers kind of regressed. Freddie Kitchens doesn't know what he's doing in Cleveland. They can't put the pieces together. But the last couple of weeks, I mean, the Steelers, I think in some ways have, what have they won, like 4 in a row now? They beat the Rams last week. They beat the Colts, the Dolphins, the Chargers. Lost to the Ravens, beat the Bengals. I mean, after opening the season, what was it, 0-4 or whatever it was. They've turned it around. They're 5-4, and they're it seems like it's going to come down to whether or not they can get past the Ravens, which that's not going to happen because the Ravens are playing really, really well. But this actually might be a pretty good game. I got the Steelers winning this game just because Cleveland just does not. Then again, Mike Tomlin really ain't that great either. Mike Tomlin's another guy. Mike Tomlin's another one of these guys, and I don't want to say he's as bad as Freddie Kitchens because he's not. At least Mike Tomlin's competent and can do the job. But, Mike Tomlin's going to roll out the same thing. We're going to, let's do, let's play this soft zone on defense. Let's throw some crossing routes to Juju. It's the same. That's it. The Seahawks, they have one gear, all right? They don't play hard. They don't play, it's just one gear that they're in. You know what I mean? They do the same thing every time. The Browns, on the other hand, Browns have the talent, and it's really sad that, I almost think it's you got to get rid of Freddie Kitchens. I mean, I like the guy. He seems like a nice guy, but, I mean, holy cow, the guy doesn't know what he's doing. You have that much talent on your team, and they just can't put it together. They're not managing the game the right way. It's tough, but anyways, I got the Steelers winning this game. Next, we have Jets, and oh my goodness, what a terrible game. Jets and Redskins, Sunday, just give me the Jets. Don't waste any time on that. Jaguars and Colts, go ahead and give me the Colts. Colts, I was high on the Colts, and then, the Jacoby Brissett, goes out with injury. They bring in Brian Hoyer, who absolutely sucks. I mean, Brian Hoyer, I think, is the better of the career backups, you know what I mean? He's not exactly, this isn't like Geno Smith that they're rolling out there, you know what I mean? But I mean, he's all right. But I mean, you lose to the Dolphins. Oh man, holy cow! You lose to the Dolphins. This isn't you lost the game. No, you lost to basically a high school team. All right. And the other, how bad the Dolphins are? They can't even tank right. They're losing the whole season, and all of a sudden they're deciding, let's win some games. Let's end up with the 5th overall pick. It's ridiculous. So, anyhow, they're going to get Brissett back eventually, as far as I know. It's man, if you can't tank properly, you suck. Geez, that is, man, it's you can't even lose right. It's terrible. Anyways, yeah, so I mean, but it should be good enough to be the Jaguars. I'm not high on the Jaguars. And it's they got Gardner Minshew. It's Minshew, man. I could care less about that storyline. I can tell you right now, the whole mustache, it's woof. Yeah, it's in Indianapolis. Give me Indy winning this game. Next game, the Bills at the Dolphins. Give me the Bills. The next game, the Cowboys at the Lions. It's a 1 o'clock game. Sneaky, interesting 1 o'clock game here. Cowboys are another one of these teams. I put the Cowboys remind me of a better Steelers team. You know what I mean? They can run the ball. They're solid on offense. The defense can get up for a game. But if all of a sudden they're really challenged and they really got to start scheming something up and start changing things up, and they got to make some in-game adjustments or something like that. If you just come out and you hit them right in the mouth, Cowboys are going to fold, all right? The Jason Garrett over there, clapping the night away on the sideline. That's just not... he just doesn't... just doesn't have what it takes there. I mean, the Cowboys are good. Don't get me wrong, they're a good team. but they're another one of these teams. I think like the Steelers that just they kind of have one gear. They come out, they roll at the same thing. We're gonna pound the ball. We're gonna feed Zeke. We're gonna they do that, and then if you just stuff the box and contain Dak and make him like cover the middle of the field, make some big boy throws outside for 60 minutes, it ain't gonna happen. So it's another one of these teams that and then you look at the Lions. The Lions are actually interesting. The Lions sucked last year. Matt Patricia goes to the Lions last year. It was his first season. They kind of, it's a honeymoon period, if you will. Look at the Lions this year, and the Lions are another one of these teams that it's like, they're 3-5-1. They lost to the Bears last week. They lost to the Raiders the week before. So I'm actually really liking the Raiders. I feel like John Gruden, considering the fact that there's you can count on one hand the number of really good coaches in the league. It's like Bill, Pete, Shanahan, maybe. We'll see how it is come postseason there. Look at it. You go through, it's like Doug Peterson, okay, fine, just because there's really not many. Shanahan, Pete Carroll, obviously Bill Belichick. It's like Bill Belichick and then like 30 spaces and then the next guy. Those other guys, and then Andy Reid, I don't know. The game management's still always been a problem for him, man. You saw that loss on Sunday. Let the Titans put up, what was it, like 35 points on them? Some game management decisions there I'm not so sure about. But considering the fact that the league, as far as coaching goes, ain't that great anymore. I guess you got to put Andy Reid in the conversation just because at least they can put a good team on the field every week. Harbaugh in Baltimore, I gotta respect him. Other than that, there's some guys who flash, but there's just not a ton of great coaches in the league. And so, you look at Oakland, and I know I'm high on Oakland just because the whole nostalgia factor, if you will. I kind of want to see them do well, but I don't know. It's. I look at this Lions team, and it's you should be winning these games. They really should. You got I understand obviously. Matt Stafford is not didn't play, and we'll see kind of when he's comes back. He's probably going to play this weekend. We'll see. But they should be winning these games. But give me the Cowboys win this game. I feel like the Cowboys are kind of going to hit a groove here. I don't know. Even though I just trashed them for 10 minutes, I had the Cowboys win this game. All right, next game up. All right, so I was going to have this as the game of the week. This probably should be the game of the week. This is an excellent game. Game of the week, as you can see on the screen, I went with the Patriots and Eagles just because it's the late Sunday game. It's a Super Bowl rematch. There's some ill will between these teams. The Philly special, Lane Johnson saying, "Oh, it's not fun," in New England, and then New England goes back and they win last year, and the Eagles missed the playoffs, or not missed the playoffs. Did they miss the playoffs? Or they either missed it or they were in and out. Yeah, they were in it. They were just not in it for long. And then now all of a sudden, this year New England, Super Bowl favorites again. They're playing Philly. It's the first time these teams have played since that last Super Bowl, which I really can't see. It was a pretty acrimonious Super Bowl, if you will. I cannot stand when people say Super Bowl 52. Nobody says it's the best Super Bowl ever. People put it as 5. It's like number 5, number 4. That's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. You understand? Super Bowl 52 was 60 minutes of two teams that could not play defense. Okay. Tom Brady puts up over 5. Not the Patriots offense. Tom Brady himself throws over 500 yards, and they lose to an Eagles team that goes out there, rolls out all these trick plays. Basically the Patriots defense, their linebackers were slow as hell. Those linebackers sucked. I remember this game. It was Marquise Flowers, what's his name in Miami? Eric Rowe, Jordan Richards, those bums. And then you got the Eagles go out there, and then it got to that part of the game where I remember the Patriots Super Bowl 52. They briefly took the lead. And okay, here we go. New England can make a win. And then New England couldn't stop anything. And then the Eagles go out there, and of course the biggest storyline from Super Bowl 52 was that the Patriots star cornerback Malcolm Butler didn't play. It's 2 years later. There's still nobody knows why. definitively. I mean, there's like, you know, there's always, of course, rumors about it, but you have to think of Malcolm Butler. Like, in order for the Patriots to have won Super Bowl 52, realistically, they just needed one stop, okay? If they could have got one stop during that game, because you got to remember, I mean, those teams were scoring on, like, every drive. I mean, there were, like, really, like, just a couple punts. Just a few punts the whole game. I mean, they were, like, going... There was just no defense, okay? So it's two teams for 60 minutes playing... I mean, Brady did get stripped, but then they still had, like, a last shot at the end. But, I mean, other than that strip, there was... I can't remember one defensive play from the whole game, okay? It was just... It was like a game of Madden. It was two teams playing all offense and no defense, with, like, trick plays galore, all right? Like... That, anybody who thinks that's one of the best rules ever is out of their mind, okay? It was a messy, like, trick play, you know, like Madden kind of, you know, acrimonious, kind of dirty game. Like, there was just no defense. It was just basically like two teams playing like catch for 60 minutes. It just really wasn't that great. And there's just not. I mean, I think last year, you know, I think there was maybe a little bit too much defense. I mean, it kind of took out some of the enjoyment. But I mean, that was like Super Bowl 52 was like a bunch of kids at recess playing like pickup football. All right, like I don't know. There was just no. I mean, I'm not saying it was like a terrible game, but you can't say, given the fact that there's been what, like 53 Super Bowls, that was in the top. I don't even think it's in the top 10. There was just no defense for 60. It was just not even that. I don't know. I don't know, maybe it's because, like, the Patriots lost and they was winning. People like to see that. I mean, look, Super Bowl 42, I think, was way better than, and I know the Patriots lost that one too, way better than 52, because it's like, here comes the undefeated Patriots and the Giants, you know, Davey and Goliath, and then they, you know, Tom Coughlin had a great scheme, and it goes down to the wire, and there's, like, unbelievable plays, and, like, you know, things like that. Super Bowl 52 was just a bunch of guys playing catch, so there was just no defense, like, the whole thing, you know what I mean? Like, there was no... I don't know. It just seemed like there was all fluff in that game. But anyways, so that's why I picked this as the game of the week, just because there's a lot on the plate there. If it wasn't for this game, Texans-Ravens would be the game of the week. So these teams are kind of flip sides of the same coin, okay? Both mobile quarterbacks, whether it's Lamar Jackson or Deshaun Watson. Lamar Jackson has been playing out of his mind, all right? They go out there, they beat New England. They win again last week. They put up, what was it, like 49 points against the Bengals. Not that... Okay, the Ravens should be patting themselves on the back for putting up 49 points against the Cincinnati Bengals, who I'm pretty sure still have not won a game, but I still want to check about that. Yep, 0-9. So even the Dolphins could not tank harder than the Cincinnati Bengals. Have the Cincinnati Bengals ever been good, ever? I can't remember. Like, I remember 2015, they started like 5-0 and then just sucked at it. And like, that was the last time they won. Was like week 5, 2015. But anyways, I think Andy Dalton's like the only quarterback in NFL history to have started 5-0 and 0-5 in his career, which tells you everything you know about the Cincinnati Bengals and the way that team's run. But you know, anyways, Deshaun Watson. I'm sorry, Lamar Jackson. You know, putting aside the fact they're playing against the Bengals, I mean, he beats New England last week. You know, Lamar Jackson, holy cow. I mean, this guy can run. This guy, I've never seen. Well, okay, Michael Vick. You got to give it to Michael Vick, but. Second behind Michael Vick, Lamar Jackson, the guy's got wheels. This guy can... Like, the thing that makes it difficult to cover a guy like Lamar Jackson is even if you cover all the receivers, right, and you cover the running back coming out of the backfield, you still got to cover Lamar Jackson. Even if you make a point out of covering Lamar Jackson, and even if he can't get the ball off to a receiver, even if you're covering him, he's so fast that, like, you're really... Like, unless you got, like, two... fast, like a cornerback and, like, a quick linebacker on him, like you're really going to have a problem. And the other thing the Ravens do so well is they always keep, if you watch the way the Ravens play, their offense, it's always third and like 3 with them, right? Because it's run, crossing route, Lamar Jackson runs 6 yards. Like, you know what I mean? Like, like that's kind of the thing with them is it's all, and it's, you know, again, and it's just because it's, maybe it's like recency bias here. It's kind of how, you know, I know the Ravens beat New England last week. It's kind of how the Eagles beat New England in that Super Bowl. Not that either team, like I said, was playing any defense. But, you know, like that's kind of one of the things teams do now against more traditionally constructed defenses where, you know, you have a mobile quarterback. You know, you don't throw it on the field. I mean, I know that's one of the knocks against Lamar Jackson. He's not, you know, he really can't stand in the pocket and throw it down. I mean, he can, but that's not how he's earning his money. He's earning his money with his legs. You know what I mean? And so you look at Lamar Jackson, and it's like, okay, like let's say you do, I mean, like let's say you do everything perfectly, you know, you make them, you know, like you basically, the only way you beat him is you make him have to throw down the field, and you hope that when you do that, you know, I mean, he's going to hit some, he's going to hit others. It's just such a hard team to defend. They can run the ball, throw the ball, quarterback can run with the ball, you know, short routes, RPOs, misdirections. You know, the only thing they're really lacking is like a deep ball. Like, that's the thing, is like the reason why they were able to beat New England is New England's secondary is probably the best secondary in the league. Probably one of the best secondaries ever, statistically. And the Ravens took them out of the game because they never really threw down the field. They just kept running the ball. Lamar Jackson took the ball, threw over the middle. And then I don't really want to analyze the game against Cincinnati because Cincinnati sucks. Like, there's really no point in it. They could have been out there like playing against nobody and like you learn just as much. But you know, but then things kind of return back to the mean here. Ravens defense kind of sucks. It's really like, I mean, if you watch games, even close games where the Ravens have been challenged, their defense is giving everybody a cushion. They're playing way off the line, and they're just preventing big plays is really what they're doing. And if you can, the way you beat the Ravens is like the same way you beat the Chiefs, all right? You run the ball, you keep Lamar Jackson on the sideline, you chew the clock, and when Lamar Jackson's out there, you just got to hope that if you stack the box, take away the run, do like a 3-4, right? Spy Jackson and play press man on his receivers, okay? And you just got to make sure you take away the run, and if he runs, make sure you're not going to let him get to the outside, okay? And then other than that, I mean, by doing that, by committing guys to stopping the run and coverage, I mean, you're going to be light in the secondary. But then what you're counting on is that in order for him to beat you, he's going to have to throw it, you know, 10, 15, 20 yards if he wants to really move the ball, which, you know, at that point, Lamar Jackson just returns to an average quarterback because, you know, we know, you know, his specialty, like I said, is being able to run the ball. You look at the Texans, on the other hand. So you look at the Texans, Deshaun Watson, okay, he doesn't have the speed Lamar Jackson has. Same kind of player. Can run, can pick up the first downs. And Deshaun Watson can make all the throws. That's the difference between him and Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson might be faster. Lamar Jackson might be able to do more with his legs. Of course, Deshaun Watson can do plenty. He can definitely run with the ball. He's definitely fast, but not as much as Jackson. And you look at Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson can make some big-time throws. I mean, the guy's got a cannon for an arm. The Texans, they did lose J.J. Watt. They can still play, you know, decent defense. They got a pretty good offense. This one's in Baltimore. I don't know if I'd say Baltimore's like the toughest place to play. It really isn't. I mean, it's a tough place to play, but it's not Seattle. It's not New England. It's not Kansas City. You know, it's not Denver when Denver was good a few years ago. It's not like one of those things, but, you know, it's not like playing in the Dome in Houston either. If it's cold, if there's weather, I mean, that could be a factor. It's not, you know, NRG Stadium, but I don't know. I'm picking the Texans this week. The reason, and it's gonna be a close game, and the Ravens should probably win. But I'm picking the Texans because I feel like, you know, the Ravens, they're getting a little bit too full of themselves. You get like a Lamar Jackson dancing, and they're taking like team photos, and they're like on the sidelines, like they're just a little bit too full of themselves. And teams like that tend to get hit in the mouth. You know, you got Bill O'Brien in Houston. You know, been in the AFC a long time, used to coach with New England. He's been the coach of the Texans for a while. He's definitely familiar with Baltimore and kind of how that team, you know, how they work. Harbaugh, you know, I mean, this is one of those games you circle on your calendar. I mean, if they're going to have a game plan for any game, this is going to be the game. And I just feel like they're just a little bit too full of themselves. And I feel like if the Texans come in there and they run the ball and they do, you know, kind of as I said, they can give the Ravens a run for their money. It's a 1 o'clock game. Yeah, I got the Texans winning this game. Next thing, Falcons and Panthers. Give me the Panthers. Oh, you know what? Actually, no. We'll talk about the Saints-Falcons game when I get to the Saints, which is the next game. But give me the Panthers for this one. So next game, Saints and Buccaneers. Obviously, I got the Saints winning this game. But to talk about that Saints and Falcons game for a moment, the Saints. Holy cow! You lost 26-9 to the Atlanta Falcons. Holy smokes! Like that is woof. Like, I mean, I understand, like, you know, you can have a bad game, but a bad game, like, at least if you're like a great team like the Saints, who I thought was the best team in the NFC, probably still is, and I know 49ers are right there, but you can't lose, you can't get blown out by the Falcons. Like, you can't, like, you can lose, like, if you lost, like, oh, you know, like, hey, you know, we had some picks and somebody got hurt and we lost, like, you know, like 14-12 or something like that, then okay, fine. Like, then, you know, maybe I understand that. But to get blown out by one of the worst teams in the NFL, ugh, like, that's, I don't want to say, like, the blueprints out on how you beat the Saints. I just think that they didn't take the Falcons seriously. They thought they were going to go in there and just kind of roll over them. And then when they didn't, they weren't really, they were kind of like, oh, well, all right. You know, I don't think anybody thinks the Saints are a bad team. I don't think anybody thinks that the Saints have, like, regressed. I just think that they were kind of asleep for this one. I mean, how could you, I mean, you're playing the Falcons. I mean, if you're the Saints, this is like if you're, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I guess the examples. This is like if you're the Saints and you're playing the Falcons, you just think like, well, this is, you know, it's going to be easy, right? The Falcons came into play, you know, and I don't really think it takes anything away from the Saints. I mean, they just didn't show up for this game. I think they just kind of walk through it. They'll come back this week. They're beating the Buccaneers, no question. Next, you got Broncos and Vikings. Give me the Vikings. Cardinals and 49ers. Give me the 49ers. I do want to talk about, however, that amazing, unbelievable, like I said, probably one of the greatest regular season football games I've ever seen. The 49ers and the Seahawks on Monday night. Like I said, probably one of the greatest regular season football games I've ever seen. It goes, I mean, first of all, not only that, but this is a game that not only on paper was this supposed to be a great game, but it not only lived up to the hype, it like exceeded the hype, okay? I think this is like, what I heard during the broadcast was like, this is like one of like the winningest matchups like there's been since the 70s. It was like a 7-2 team against an 8-0 team. On Monday night, which I guess is like only ever happened like once, that there's been teams with, you know, records like that who faced off against each other. And so it's the Seahawks, it's the 49ers, two really great teams, two great quarterbacks, two division rivals, Monday night. Like, this should be a huge game. And it blew away everybody's expectations, or like definitely my expectations. I mean, I thought it was going to be a great game, but I mean, this was an unbelievable game. I mean, first of all, the 49ers, I think, are a great team. I haven't seen, when I look at the 49ers, like, I think of, like, New England. I think about the Seahawks from a few years ago. I think about, there really aren't many teams that are as so solid and as, like, I don't know, you just look at the 49ers and it's like they don't make mistakes. They're well coached. They don't, like, you know, make those mistakes. Other teams, like, they don't manage the game the wrong way. They don't mismanage their timeouts. They don't call stupid plays. They're on the ball. Jimmy G makes good throws. They got a good, like, they're not one of these teams where, like, I mean, there's some good teams. There's a lot of good teams. But almost all of them have some kind of flaw or something where it's like when the lights are really bright, there's questions about, are they going to make a bad decision? Like, if you're, like, for instance, like, if you're, like, Seattle, are you going to be screwing up and throwing the ball on the 1-yard line? You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of good teams, but, like, in terms of teams that aren't going to beat themselves and, like, are fundamentally sound, talented teams at every position, the 49ers are just one of these rare teams, like New England, like Seattle a few years ago, just well-coached, you know, well-oiled machines, I guess you could say. 49ers are one of these teams. Seahawks come in, Russell Wilson, I'm sorry, I don't care how good Lamar Jackson's playing, Russell Wilson's the MVP, because, I mean, he should be the MVP. I mean, Russell Wilson, I mean, holy cow, like, I don't even know where to start. There was so much material from that game last night. Like, it goes into overtime, it goes into the end of overtime, like, Jimmy G comes back. First of all, talk about Jimmy G. I'm really not that high on Jimmy. Like, he's good, and he's got a really great arm, and he, you know, makes good throws. But I just feel like there's something wrong with Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, first of all, he throws a pick last night. He probably should have had like 5 picks last night because, or not last. Sorry, well, I record this on Tuesday, but Monday night game, like he throws, I don't know, probably like 7 balls right into Seahawks defenders that were all like bobbled and dropped. Like that's like 5 picks that he could have had right there. Like last night. I mean, he made some he just made bad throws. Like, he made a lot of great throws, but that's one of the things with Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, as well as he plays, he'll have these terrible, I'm not saying like he's got to have a completion every now, because no quarterback's going to complete every single ball, but when he throws a bad ball, it's bad. Like, it's like he throws, I think he throws at least a pick every game, okay? And he throws some of these balls. It's like, what the hell's he doing? Like, last night it's over, or the end of, there's like a minute left in overtime, or minutes and change, right? And the 49ers, you know, they could have tried to come down the field. They could have tried to come down the field with like no time left to kick a field goal. Or they could have just settled for the tie. You know, it's a division rival. You know, seeding's important. You know, the NFC is stacked. You got a lot of teams on your heels. You know, if you give the ball back to Russell Wilson, you're probably going to lose the game. So you could have settled for time. There's a lot of things they could have done. And they come out there and like throw on three, like it was like 3 straight incompletions, like sail over guys' heads. Like, and it just feels like when the lights are the brightest and it's a big spot, Jimmy Garoppolo throws picks, incompletions, gets strips. He got strip sacked twice. Like, he's really good, except for sometimes he just makes these really. It's not like he throws a few incompletions. No, he throws a bunch of touchdowns and then throws like picks and fumbles the ball. Like, it's weird. He's really high and really low. In the Seahawks, man. I mean, I know, like, Russell Wilson's like overtime. They win the toss. They're driving on the field and throws another pick at the goal line, basically. And I was like, all right, I said Seahawks are going to lose. And then Jimmy G couldn't get the job, or they missed the kick. That looked like one of those, like, Madden kicks when it's like you screw up the timing and then, like, the bar is all the way to, you know, like, down at the bottom and then just, like, sails into the stands. That was a freaking terrible kick. But, you know, anyways, so Seahawks end up winning the game. It's really entertaining back and forth game. So, anyways, yeah, Cardinals, 49ers, you got the 49ers win this game. And, of course, you know, 49ers are undefeated more. I don't think anybody's ever going to go 19-0. I don't think it's possible. Like, people think, well, you know, the Dolphins were the only undefeated team. Yeah, but that Dolphins team was the season was shorter in the 1970s. They didn't go 19-0. They were like 17-0 or something like that. So it's like you throw in 2 more games, you know, at the end there, which are going to be against probably good opponents. You know, you probably would have lost one of those games. It's like, I don't think anybody can go 19-0. I think even if you have a stacked team, you know, even if your team's unbelievable, you know, you got to deal with injuries, the salary cap, playing against good teams, bad teams, not, you know, scheming up for all those games. Not falling asleep against bad teams, being able to play 60 minutes against good teams, making sure you get enough talented players on the field that guys don't get hurt, that you deal with the salary cap, that you don't lose your draft picks. Like, there's so many things you have to handle that you can't win every single game, you know? Not every night. You can't, or every Sunday, you know? It's just it's one of those things. Anyways, yeah, so next game here, Patriots and Eagles. So I kind of talked about this one a little bit. Patriots and Eagles, this is an interesting game because this is a tough one to pick. I am going to go with New England win this game because they lost last week. You know, I think that Eagles Super Bowl, that loss is fresh in their mind. They're not going to let it happen again. The Eagles offense, for them to have, and they've been really, you know, up and down the last couple of years. The Eagles offense, in order for them to, I mean, it's almost kind of interesting because the Eagles do a lot of what the Ravens did and a lot of what the Eagles themselves did against New England in that Super Bowl a couple of years ago, which it seems like historically, like, if you watch the NFL as closely as I do, like, watch a team like New England, who, I mean, I guess no matter what, you know, like, I guess if you're a New England fan, or you're not, like, just because they're in it every year, you end up seeing a lot of their games because they're always national games, they're in the playoffs, you just see them a lot for years and years. And one of the things I've kind of noticed over time with them is that going back to, like, 2012 Colin Kaepernick, when they lost to the 49ers, mobile quarterbacks in, like, RPO, misdirections, crossing routes, spread them, like, those types of teams, New England has always had a problem defending. Whether it's, like I said, Kaepernick, 2012 49ers, Panthers 2013, Chiefs 2017, Eagles in the Super Bowl, Ravens this year, like, mobile quarterbacks, RPOs, spread them out, misdirection, anything that tests the lateral speed of the linebackers. It just seems like they've always had problems against those types of teams. And they had you know, like I say, before Baltimore, the last time they faced a team like that was the Eagles in the Super Bowl and they lost. The Ravens were a team like that they played last week and they lost, and now here they are against the Eagles. And I just feel like it's like there's too much talent on that defense. The thing is, the linebackers are kind of slow. Like, that's kind of one of the things you start to notice. There's like that's the commonality. It's like all those games, they didn't lose because they were getting lit up down the field. They lost because it's like, you know, 5 and 6 yards here and there. They just couldn't contain it, you know. And so I don't know. They had a bye week. I mean, the Eagles had a bye week too, but I feel like you give Bill a bye week after a loss, and he knows that we're playing a team we lost to in the Super Bowl that does the same type of thing that the team we lost to last week does. Like, they're going to correct it, and they're going to be ready to go. I got New England winning this game. But it's going to be interesting to see, like, if there's this is in Philly, if there's booing, if there's bad blood, you know, to see if Lane Johnson's having fun in this game, because he said New England's not any fun, so... Anyways, we'll see. But I got New England winning this game. Next game, Bengals at Oakland. Give me Oakland. I do want to... I mean, this isn't really much of a game, but I do want to talk about Oakland for a second. The Oakland Raiders, man. Holy cow. I mean, they might not be the most talented team. They might not be the greatest team. But they have the mettle. They have the fight. They have the... Like, if you look at the... Like, for instance, if you look at the playoff picture right now, I mean, I think... They're either in the playoffs or they're, like, one game away from being in the playoffs. Okay, so they are the 7th seed, which means in order to get in the playoffs, like the lowest seed you can be to be in the playoffs is the 6th seed. Right now, the Steelers are the 6th seed at 5-4, and the Raiders are 5-4. They're one game away from being in the playoffs. And honestly, the NFC is so stacked. I mean, you got the 49ers at 8-1, the Packers at 8-2, the Seahawks at 8-2. And they're the 5th seed. The 3rd seed is the Saints at 7-2. The Vikings at 7-3. The Cowboys at 5-4. You get the 5-4 Rams, 5-4 Eagles, 5-4 Panthers, 4-5 Bears. That in Week 11 are all out of the playoffs. Okay, that's how loaded the NFC is. You look at the AFC. You know, the AFC is like you got New England. You know, they're one. You got the Ravens. Okay, the Chiefs have regressed. The Chiefs are off this week, but they lost last week. I mean, again. The Chiefs have no defense. They really don't. They lost another, what's his name with the torn pec, their best pass rusher. So it's like, they really have no defense in Kansas City. So it's like, and they're the 4th seed, okay? The 5th seed is the Buffalo Bills with no offense. The 6th seed is the Pittsburgh Steelers, who kind of aren't really that great. No Ben Roethlisberger, no Le'Veon Bell, no Antonio Brown. You know, these are not the Pittsburgh Steelers of years ago, okay, or the last few years. They're just kind of in the playoffs by default, basically. The Raiders, okay, the Colts, no Andrew Luck, no Jacoby Brissett. They got Brian, so we'll see what the story is there. It's wide open for the Raiders, okay? Like, if the Steelers lose a game, which they're going to lose another game, okay? And, you know, really, then the Raiders are in. You know, you look at the Raiders' schedule down the stretch, you know, and it's like... You look at this, and it's doable, you know? Like, they got the Bengals this week win, the Jets win, Kansas City, and okay, that's... Kansas City might have regressed, but they're not... Kansas City needs the wins as badly as anybody else. So they're not going to win that game. They could probably going to beat the Titans, they'll beat the Jaguars, they can beat the Chargers, they can beat the Broncos. I mean, maybe they lose 1 or 2 of those games, but... Like, they're going to make the playoffs. I think, you know, and then if you give Gruden a chance in the playoffs... I mean, what happened... Well, last time Gruden was in the playoffs, what was it, like the Tuck Rule game in New England in 2001, right? Like, imagine if, you know what would be amazing? If the AFC Championship game is in New England and it's snowing and it's Gruden and the Raiders and it's like deja vu. That would be really great for all, like, the football nerds and whatnot out there. So, anyways, so you look at you know, this whole mess here. Yeah, anyways, I got the Raiders in this game. Next, we have Bears and Rams, Sunday night game. Give me the Rams. It's in LA, which I can't stand. I can't stand the LA Rams. I can't stand the LA. The Chargers should go back to San Diego. None of this London BS, all right? Chargers should go back to San Diego. I guess the Rams are in Los Angeles, but teams should just stay where they were, all right? Like, enough of this LA crap. Like, it's annoying. But maybe the Rams. Fine, the Rams used to be there. There's a history. Fine, okay? Chargers need to go back to get in your bus and go back to San Diego, all right? Build this. Like, that's where you got no fans in Los Angeles, okay? You've been the San Diego Chargers forever. You got those nice light blue uniforms. Probably one of my favorite sets of uniforms in the league is the Chargers. Like, what do you do? Like, it got worse. You have less fans and no stadium, all right? Like, well, actually, you're going to have a new stadium, I think, what, next year or the year after or whatever. But that's really what this comes down to. These owners don't care if they don't have any fans. They want the stadium to be built for them, okay? Because they want to pay for that. And then that's it. That's all they really interested. They're just interested in somebody else paying for their stadium. And other than that, they really don't care because the money's the money on TV. So, there you go. Nice world we live in. Yeah, so give me the Rams win this game. Last game, Monday night, Chiefs and Chargers. I have the Chiefs win this game because the Chiefs need the damn wins. The Chargers, on the other hand, they're 4-6, and the friggin' the Chargers find every possible way to lose a game. Okay, they lose 20 like games that they're winning games. They should win They lose in like heartbreaking fight. These close losses every time. 26-24. They lose to the Raiders. They beat the Packers 26-11. The week before. They beat the Chargers 17-16. They lose to the Titans 23-20. They lose to the Steelers 24-17. They lose to the Broncos 20-13. They beat the Dolphins 30-10. They lose to the Texans 27-30. They beat the they lose to the Lions 13-10. They beat the Colts 30-24. Like every single one of these games is like they can't. They never win going away. And it's like all these games they've lost they could have won, and the games they've won they could have lost. And it's woof. So, anyways, give me the Chiefs in this game. The Chiefs need to win, and the Chiefs have been losing too many games. They got a bye week to get right. Give me the Chargers in this game. All right, guys, that's going to be for this week's picks. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. And other than that, until next time, that's going to be for this one, guys. Thanks for watching.